Hey, it's really cold outside. My hemp robe is nice and snuggly when it's cold outside. I keep getting asked this question both in comments, and I read every comment. Last video had like 1,300 comments. It took a long time to read those comments, questions about book recommendations. I've said many times I can always tell what somebody understands by the stuff they recommend you read. Not like, their favorite book, like fiction or whatever, science fiction. Rather like the most intelligent stuff, stuff that actually expands and improves your mind and your ability to think logical, coherent thinking, especially when it comes to ancient Platonic retroduction. A neat thinking methodology that lets you solve things through not induction or deduction, but retroduction. It's a lost secret of the Pythagoreans. There are certain books that can actually structure your mind in a way, it's not my opinion, it's a fact, to think that way. And some of these books that were written in the Dark Ages, when people were reading everything by candlelight, you're like, oh my God, how did these people write such incredibly intelligent stuff? It's so mind-bending that you could take the smartest person, or you think the smartest person on earth, like, try reading like 20 pages of Theoria Philosophiae Naturalis, Theory of Natural Philosophy by Roger White. Their brains implode. I mean, they literally implode. There's a lot of stuff out there, well, not a lot, relatively decent amount of stuff out there that's like that. You don't have to have this broad... Here's a real question. This is a serious question for you and your little rugrats and anybody on this. Would you rather have like a PhD and your head full of a bunch of useless facts, or would you rather have the ability to problem solve and think and discern things acutely? Acute ability for problem solving. Which would you rather have in your head? Yeah. These people did not spend years and years and years in school and college and postgraduate and fill their heads full of useless facts. What they did is they read and they thought about really, really good books. Yeah? The good stuff. A little over half my house is a library. I spent over 25 years scanning in the best of the best books. Not garbage, the really good stuff. You can't talk about every book, of course, in one video, but a lot of people have asked me about this. This is important to a correct education, the ability for problem solving, spontaneous thought synthesis, retroductive analysis, where there is no objective proof whereby which you could deduce something from objective phenomena gained vis-a-vis your external senses of sight, smell, taste, touch. It's a completely different sense, and there is certain things to study. Everybody should, even including little kids, should be reading Walter Russell's book, The Universal One. People keep asking me, are there any good books on retroduction and theurgy? There's some that come kind of close, and of course we're working a booklet on that right now. By the way, there are certain websites where some of these books can be had. By the way, just as a side note, completely off that topic, there's a Russian website. I've been there for years. It's called pdfdrive.com. There's interesting stuff on pdfdrive.com. Just as a side note, just mentioning that completely off topic. Here's a great one. It's a book you could read in a day, by the way. It's by Algis Udovinas. It's called Orpheus and the Roots of Platonism. Really, really great little book. It is at like 91 pages. You could easily, large font, 12-point font. You could read this in a day. Very, very easy. Highly, highly recommend this book. I'm just going to throw that on the floor over there, that way I can get it out of the way. A favorite of his, I've had countless thousands of people acquire this book. I'm going to use the word acquire it. It's called Philosophy is a Rite of Rebirth by the exact same author, Algis Udovinas. This is about retroduction, negative dialectic, specifically the methodology of theurgy. However, the way he explains it to people might not be extremely lucid, but it's actually better than any of the other books that are out there. It's called Philosophy is a Rite of Rebirth. You kind of can't go by the title. As to the contents, give this highest recommendation. As far as an introduction, I scanned this and countless thousands and thousands, literally thousands and thousands and thousands of books in. And scan them in a PDF format. You can get this on Amazon or wherever else you acquire this book. This is the Didaskalikos of Albanus. This is an incredibly ancient work. You could read this in a half a day. It's called the Platonic Doctrines. This is a translation by, isn't it by a Whitfield translation, I remember? Not that that's important. I think there's only one English translation. Yeah, Jeremiah Reedy, Platonic Doctrines of Albanus. In the original Greek is specifically called the Didaskalikos. Very, very easy. It's kind of like a primer introduction into Platonic dialectic of thinking, and introduction to monistic metaphysics, which is the metaphysics of the ancient Pythagoreans, so Platonists and Neoplatonists. You can't go. There's two books on. There's only two books I recommend on original Pythagoreanism. Only two. One, I just recently looked up the cost on it. I have it. It's called Lore and Science in Ancient Pythagoreanism. Okay, Lore, L-O-R-E. Lore and Science in Ancient Pythagoreanism. I think there's a couple copies on Amazon for like $130. There are ways to acquire this book that are out there. I'll let you discover where to get this book. And the other one has a horrific title, so don't go by the title. It was a really stupid title, but the contents are absolutely great. It's a collection of the nature of early Pythagoreanism and Neo-Pythagoreanism. You'll really, really like it. It's kind of a cheap paperback copy. Reprint, it's called Touches of Sweet Harmony. Really dumb title. You got to ignore the title of this book. There it is, Touches of Sweet Harmony. It's by Angelico Press. What is it again? It's like 440-some pages long. It's a collection of... It's really, really a great book. This is an incredible book to have. This is like the second copy I've got. The first copy I let somebody borrow. I never got it back for them. It's so great. There are 4 volumes of this set. I only brought 2 out here. This is the Upanishads. It's available in 4 volumes. This book is out there too, where you can acquire it kind of easily, if you catch my drift. It's called the Upanishads, Principal Upanishads. It's translated by Swami Nikalananda. But it also, too, has commentary by Sri Sankaracharya, i.e. the founder of Advaita Vedanta. Incredible. I've got like 5 different copies of this 4-volume set. It's absolutely incredible. Very, very, very good. As far as... I really can't recommend anything higher than this other than Plotinus and a few other things like the Pitaphysian. Incredible, incredible collection. Perfect translation, best translation in my opinion. Got lots of translations of the Upanishads. I read the Romanized Sanskrit, by the way. Just absolutely incredible. Very, very good for your intellectual exercise and reading this 4-volume set. So it's called the Upanishads, translated by Swami Nikalananda. He didn't write them, he's a principal Upanishads. Do you know the name of the primary character in the oldest Upanishad? This is the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Yeah, of course, the word Indian doesn't mean anything. India didn't exist back in those ancient days. The Scythians are Sakya, which were steppe people that came down from the northeast, Scandinavian, Germanic. The primary character, by the way, in case you didn't know, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the oldest Upanishad, is, tell me if this sounds Tamil, i.e. Indian, or if this sounds Scythian, Germanic, Nordic. Primary character's name is Yajnavalkya. This is a quick question. This is not a trick question. Indian or Scythian, i.e. Teutonic / Scandinavian. Primary character's name, Yajnavalkya. Does that sound Indian or Nordic? By the way, Sakyamuni, people think is the name of the Buddha. That's not a name, that's an appellation. I would be called like Kentucky Wheeler or something like that, if that were one word, right? Sakyamuni means Scythian sage. Sakya is ancient Pali, meaning Scythian. Muni means sage, guru, so it means Scythian guru. Sakyamuni is not a name. That's just, it's like, oh, who is over there, the guy who's giving lectures on metaphysics? Oh, Sakyamuni. That's not a name. There's like about 60% of the Buddhist world of people that hear that. Oh, that's the name of the Buddha. It's like, no. Sakyamuni is not a name, it's an appellation. It's referring to a Scythian sage. That's what they call Gautama, as Sakyamuni. Means Scythian guru, Scythian sage. Just as a side note there. I'm throwing all these books on the floor. My fat butt's going to have to bend down there and pick those up after I'm done. Here's a couple books that are really cheap paperbacks that you should really get from Dr. Anandakishis Coomaraswamy. He was on the stamp of India. He knew 27 languages, wrote tons and tons and tons of books. His son gave me the rights to his father's works as long as I gave them away for free. Anyway, they're like $14 paperback copies you can get on Amazon. One of them is a collection of articles, okay? It's called The Essential A.K. Coomaraswamy. That's the title of the book, The Essential A.K. Coomaraswamy. Really highly advise you to get it. The other book is the same collection of articles called Figures of Speech, Figures of Thought by Dr. A.K. Coomaraswamy. Coomaraswamy. Another great book by him, also a collection of articles. He wrote so many books, it was published posthumously after he kicked the bucket in 1947. It was published like 48 years after he died. Actually, it was 56 years, I think. A long time after he died. He wrote that much. You're still getting new stuff published 50 years after you're dead, plus. That means you've written a lot of stuff. It's called Guardians of the Sun Door. Yep, Guardians of the Sun Door. Also highly recommend Julius Evola. You just have to ignore his politics. Julius Evola's books like Metaphysics of War, Revolt Against the Modern World. Really is a collection of great books by Julius Evola. Julius Evola. Julius Evola. And here's another last collection of articles. This is a great one. It's called, I got another one over here too, yeah. Two last books by Coomaraswamy. He wrote a lot of stuff. This one's called The Door in the Sky by Coomaraswamy. Highly recommend you get it. It's a collection of incredible articles. There's nothing finer written by a better metaphysician than Coomaraswamy. Yeah, The Door in the Sky. It's a collection of articles. It's the same thing. You ignore the title of the book. It's not about civilization. It's a collection of articles about metaphysics. It's called What is Civilization by A.K. Coomaraswamy. Absolutely, you'll love it. I've got several copies of this. Some copies of mine have not been returned by people that I've lent it to. Windows of the Soul, Coming to the Birth of the Spirit, Gradation, Evolution, What is Civilization, Pertinence of Philosophy, On Being in One's Right Mind. Great books, both of these. So is anything by Coomaraswamy. Last one by Coomaraswamy, Time and Eternity. It's the Greek section, an Indian section, and isn't there a Catholic section? Yeah, there's a Hindu section, a Buddhist section, a Greek section, an Islam section, and also a Christian and modernist section. Metaphysics of time and eternity by various different religions and cultures. They all kind of pretty much jive. Nothing is known except the modality of the knower. It's called Time and Eternity. There's other ways to acquire this book, too. Hint, hint. There we go. Throw it on the ground. This is the only living author that I respect. All the rest of them are dead. She's a friend of mine. She's Irish. She's a wonderful loss. She's retired to Uganda. Her name is Deirdre Carabine. I think she had a mystery. It's like, oh my God, why have I sold like a bazillion copies all of a sudden of my book? It's called The Unknown God by Deirdre Carabine. Right there, really good stuff. She's an older lady. She's retired in Uganda. She's a friend of mine. I posted a video with her on my site, thanks to her. She's the only living author that I have any respect for. I have plenty of respect for her. There's just no other living author I can think of that I have any respect for. So it's The Unknown God by Deirdre Carabine. You can get this on Amazon. It's a paperback reprint. Yeah. There's a great book as a springboard from understanding dissension, embodiment against original sin, which is a Judeo-Christian pile of hooey and malarkey. Theurgy and Demiurgy. This is a really great book. It's called Theurgy and the Soul, The Neoplatonism of Iamblichus by Gregory Shaw. Theurgy and the Soul. Here's a must get right here. Two that I don't have here, which is my top recommendations, is the Enneads of Plotinus Yeah, the Enneads of Plotinus, right? The collections of Plotinus, the 9 Enneads. The best is a partial translation by Thomas Taylor. The next best is a translation, which is okay. It's the only good, complete translation by A.H. Armstrong. And the Periphyseon, Periphyseon. You could acquire that on various sites, might possibly even the one that I recommended about 15 minutes ago. Periphyseon. You want to know what these people in the Dark Ages and the 16th, 17th, what they read, the stuff that they read that gave them such sharp, acute minds, stuff that you'll never get. You could get 2 PhDs from Harvard. Who cares? Won't teach you how to think. Memorizing garbage. Go home and memorize chapters 1 through 2. Who cares? You want a sharp mind? Spontaneous thought genesis. You want your child to have a sharp mind. Periphyseon, right? Collect. I.P. Sheldon's not the best. The best is the 5-volume set to the Periphyseon. It's got Latin on one side, English on the other. That 5-volume set can be acquired kind of easily. Thanks to me. You're welcome. Here's the last one. I've probably got like a dozen copies of this. I've loaned out half of them. I've got underlined the hell out of this one. It's a cheap paperback copy. Original's hardback. It's called Metaphysics, a collection of articles by A.K. Coomaraswamy, called Metaphysics. Yeah? He wrote a lot of stuff. 27 languages, dozens of books, hundreds of articles, and it was on the stamp of India. I'm proud that his son was a friend of mine. His son was Rama P. Coomaraswamy. I appreciate him for giving me the rights to his father's works. This could be acquired out there on the, thanks to, once again, me. Thanks to me. You're welcome. So, these are the good things to read. Like I said, I can always tell what people understand by the stuff they recommend you read. And if you want a sharp mind, and you really want a genuine shortcut to being a sharp-witted genius, it's not about getting PhDs and memorizing tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of useless facts. I know. Who cares? Do you have a sharp mind? Are you able to do problem solving? Can you think retroductively? These people that had incredibly sharp minds that wrote like Theoria Philosophiae Naturalis, the Periphyseon, they read Plotinus, Iamblichus, Damascius, Syrianus. And another great example, I didn't bring any of his books out, is the German mystic Jakob Böhme. Jakob Böhme. Just type in Jacob, B-O-E-H-M-E. Jakob Böhme. Yeah? This is the stuff you should be reading. You want a sharp mind? This is it. Okay? It is an actual. There's everybody on the internet talking about shortcuts to fast money. Shortcuts to this, shortcut. This is a genuine shortcut, hardcore, no ifs, ands, or buts, to having a sharper mind, being able to think better, more clearly, insightfully, problem diagnostic elimination, retroductive analysis, such that you have no objective proof, whereby which you arrive at a superlogical conclusion through not abduction, induction, or deduction, rather retroduction. It is a special methodology, and these will sharpen your mind on that front. No college today, no school today will sharpen your mind on that front. These will. I hope you liked this video. If you got any questions, let me know. My email's in the description below. If you like these videos, the donation's there too. Either donate or tell me how much you like it or don't like it. Whatever makes you happy. Whatever floats your boat, whatever tickles your pickle. Thank you so much for watching. Lux Veritas. Goodbye. Oh man, there's a pile of books down there.